how to respond to that.
What's up?
Hey.
What's this for?
We're a conservative student group on campus. We're nonpartisan, so we don't identify as Democrat or Republican, but we are based on Reagan conservative values. We don't endorse candidates or any, one running for election. We're more ideological based.
Aren't you automatically right if you're conservative?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
but
difference
we're
between
not-
right and
Right,
and Republican.
Yeah,
We don't engage
identify
in
with parties.
partisan debates.
Oh,
It's not.
so
it's
even
not
though
R
Republican
versus
is
D.
right, you're trying to say you're not
It's
Republican.
because we're not involved in election type stuff. We don't support candidates. We don't run candidates. We don't
okay.
endorse candidates. We're
We're
on
not
the
college
ideological
Republicans. We're
side.
not college Democrats.
Yeah.
Well, you have the same values as a
We
Republican
do not
would.
have this.
Well,
Very similar.
Typically.
similar, but not the same. We're based on more Reagan-era conservatism, so traditional free market.
I don't view it as binary. I don't view it as right or left.
Well,
You know,
no, of
there's
course,
a
there is
whole
no such
range of
thing,
different
but,
opinions.
yeah.
So there are differences.
I actually just had a great conversation with a guy who was like, I'm center-left, but I'm pro-life. I would love to debate you guys. I was like, sure, come to our meeting. That's super interesting.
Yeah, I'm more of a moderate myself.
Yeah, that's what we have debates for. It's really interesting, actually.
You guys are religious or what?
So the national organization itself is based on Christianity, but we do have many members that you're not.
I'm
religious.
not. I'm the VP. I'm not religious.
Yeah.
So you're an atheist?
I'm not. I'm agnostic. I don't know.
No. Oh, okay. Well, agnostic is really a modifier added to either. People are.
Atheism, I believe, is defined as being against the idea of religion, which I'm not.
No.
I see a lot of value in
The
it.
prefix a means without. And
So they don't believe in any god, any power, right?
the prefix a means without.
There's a difference between not believing in religion and not knowing.
So anyway, the prefix a means without, and theism means with belief in God. So atheist is someone who's just without belief in God. So
Right.
babies are born atheists. Everyone starts off an atheist if you have no belief at all. So an atheist is just someone without belief. They're not against anything per se. They're just without belief. So if you don't believe in a God, you're automatically an atheist. People are atheist or theist 100% of the time. Agnostic is just a modifier. It means you think something's unknown or unknowable. That can be put on either atheist or theist. You could think it's unknown or unknowable and just say, well, therefore I'm an atheist because it's unknown.
Right. Yeah.
Or a theist could be like, well, yeah, it could be you can never know it, but I believe it anyway, so they could build this.
Well, by that definition, then yes, I would classify myself as an atheist.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm also an atheist. I'm for abortion. I'm for guns, I guess.
See, that's a difference
That is
between
different.
the binary right versus left argument right
Right.
there.
I have a gun.
See, you have a gun, but you're pro-abortion. See, that's
Yeah,
totally different than the binary.
abortion's good.
Why do you think that? I'm curious. I'm just curious to hear your opinion.
Yeah, no, we have enough people. We're not low on people. And I think the best argument for abortion is just the fact that, you can't really force someone to care or save another person's life. You can't do that. If I had something special in my blood that would save some dude's life and you can't get it from anywhere else, it's up to me whether I want to give the blood or not. If I don't, he's just going to die. And that's no fault on me, right? So in the same token, a zygote...
Sorry, give us 1 minute. Are you familiar with the club?
No, I suck freedom, so
Yeah, so we are Young Americans for Freedom, as we just mentioned to this gentleman. We are a political organization on campus. The main difference between us and Republicans, college Democrats, is we are nonpartisan, meaning we don't endorse candidates, we don't endorse parties. We debate purely the ideologies themselves. Our club centers around Reagan conservatism, focusing on individual liberties, and basically anything in the Bill of Rights. But we do have a wide range of opinions in here, and half of our meetings, we have one tonight, by the way, at 8
Yeah.
Rights,
Half
but
our meetings is
half of our
debate.
meetings is debates on various topics.
It's super interesting to see because we all might be some level of Reagan conservative, but we all disagree on things. He's atheist, I'm Catholic.
Right.
So we have different
Sorry,
arguments
you
for
can
different
continue.
things,
Sorry, I just
different
had to
basis for
read
different
him.
things. Let me look it up for you. If you
talking
follow us on UFYAF on Instagram,
You were talking about
you're good. Let me pull
about
it up, 'cause I don't
abortion.
remember
Yeah.
And we have enough people.
Yeah, we have enough people, and I think the best argument for abortion is the fact that, like I said, you can't force someone
G325.
to save another person's life.
Yeah.
So you can't make
Yeah, of course. Have a good one.
make someone
see you
give
later.
blood to save another person. In the same aspect, a zygote or a fetus is dependent on the woman for life, and just like donating blood and helping someone, it requires initial and continued consent until the thing's done, until you're done giving blood. Being pregnant and having a kid requires initial and continued consent to have it. So if you decide I don't want it anymore, and you no longer want to provide anything for it, it's going to die. And it's just the same thing as not giving blood and someone dies because they don't have that blood.
But then what do you do about someone who's like, what if they have a 2-year-old kid and they're like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I don't want to care for my kid anymore.
Well, it's already born, so that's why we put the rights on birth, because so many things can happen before birth, and it can never be born. That's why it requires birth, which is not only the removal from the body, but the cutting off of the umbilical cord is still attached to the woman. So birth and removal of the attachment, therefore it then has rights. So that's why we put it at birth.
So you're talking about dependency on the woman.
Sure.
A 0-year-old child is still dependent.
Like, yeah,
A 1-year-old
if you don't
child
feed
is
that
still-
kid,
Yeah,
it's
but it's
gonna die.
born. Like I said, it was born.
It isn't a magical transition at the snip of the umbilical
Well,
cord.
it's
still dependent.
born and it's unattached. So yeah, that's birth. That's a part of birth. So
Sure. So you said that any number of things can happen before birth,
Sure.
leading to the death of the
Yeah,
child before
sure,
birth.
sure.
Any number of things can happen after birth, leading to the death of the child.
Okay.
What is the difference
Right.
there?
Birth.
Why?
Because we have to give it a time to give rights, and that's the time we choose.
So why not conception though?
Why not before conception? Why not make it illegal for
because it's
people?
not
It's not a
human.
life. It's
It's
not
not
a
a
life.
human.
You only
No,
have
no,
rights
it's
if
still
you're
human
alive.
cells. If someone
No.
if some guy jacks off, those could have been lives.
No, it's not because they only have
There's a
26
difference.
It doesn't
chromosomes
matter.
as opposed to
Doesn't matter.
42.
That is a potential.
Someone can make
life,
the
not
same
a life.
argument and say you're arbitrarily deciding. Oh, since they're matched up now, then it matters.
Well, that's what
So
conception
I
is.
define
Right.
life
That is
at-
what conception is.
Right,
That
that's
doesn't
when
mean.
life begins.
But that does no. That's what you say. Life begins. Life
Well, that's what
began.
science says.
Life began with the sperm
we
and
should
the egg.
specify human life.
You can't
When
have-
the sperm meets the egg, you have a
Right.
complete set of human DNA.
Right, but it
at
doesn't
that
matter if
moment.
it's complete or not. The fact is, you have half and half, egg and sperm. Why is it less important then?
Because it's not
Well,
a human
I-
yet.
Oh, but it is human cells, just like a conception is.
No,
I don't
Yes,
think
it
a
is.
banana is a human, despite bananas sharing a lot of our DNA.
Sure, I agree. So, we're talking about human cells that have potential of becoming a baby. So you're trying to arbitrarily say, well, since they meet and they have all their cells here, not even discussing all the other things it doesn't have yet. But you say, oh, because all the cells together, then therefore it's alive. So you arbitrarily give what's called in. The reason why we have it at birth is because that's when the mother is done, when it's relying on the mother. It can be cared for in another fashion or whatever. It doesn't require her
What about a preemie
assistance.
child born at 22 weeks?
A what?
A preemie child born at 22 weeks.
Doesn't matter. It's born is born.
So
So
why is
the-
that
the
different from a child in the womb at 22 weeks?
I'm sorry, preemie child? Say it again? I thought you meant...
No, I'm saying a child that's born super early at 22
right.
weeks.
What's wrong with... What's the difference? What does it matter?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why are you saying that life matters just now because he's outside the uterus?
Right,
as opposed to
exactly.
inside
Right,
the
you're
uterus?
Being
defining
born
the value of life by
outside the
location.
uterus,
Yeah,
that's
you're
correct.
defining the value of life on location. as opposed to-
Location and attachment to the mother, that's correct.
But regardless, the child's still attached to the mother because it requires someone to care for it.
No, that's not physically attached. No umbilical. It's been born and no cord. So it's not attached. Anyone can take care of it at that point.
Can I
That's
kill-
why birth. See, that's why we have to use birth to give rights, because it's still
Can I stab a
we have to
conjoined twin
give it a
because
point.
they're attached?
What's that?
Can I stab a conjoined twin because they're attached?
I don't see why they're attached to each other, not the mother. So it's just that's the best argument that there is for abortion in my view. It is not only not forcing someone to care for someone else, but it's we have a lot of humans. There's no reason to make someone have a kid they don't want, especially with all the single moms we have going on here, which leads to a lot of criminality. I mean, it's just not a good idea.
So now you're defining life based on quality of life.
No, I'm sure that should be a factor to anyone's opinion of it. Sure, why not?
I don't believe the value of life is dependent on sickness.
Okay,
I believe the value of life is inherent on the fact that you're a human being.
okay.
Regardless of whether you're homeless or a billionaire,
Well,
no
that's
one
fine.
should be able to kill you.
You can think that. That's fine.
So you don't agree with that? the life of a homeless person and Elon Musk are not the same?
No, they're not.
Okay.
Why?
It's just my opinion.
Yeah, but why? Why don't you think they're the same? Why do they have different
Or
values?
not the same, but the same value.
Yeah, why do they have different values?
I don't know. Never really given much thought, but I don't know.
Also, genuinely curious.
I think maybe the way how much you contribute to mankind and society, perhaps.
So a conditional
Yeah.
value?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I don't see what that has to do with discussion, though.
Well, because it all comes down to where I think our basis of discussion comes
I
down to where
think
you
the
value
difference
life.
here is we view all human life on an equal playing
Okay.
field.
Well, it's
So
we call a zygote and a fetus potential life because they're not born yet. So you can try to debate over,
You can-
well,
you
why
call
is
it
that?
We don't.
Right.
We just call it life.
Right. Well, life's been going on for millions and billions of years, and it's an ongoing process, right? It didn't start with anyone having a
So
kid. It's
again,
going on
I
for
will
a long time.
specify human life. When
Right,
I say
right.
life,
Human
I mean
life has gone on for millions of years, right? I mean, hundreds of thousands and millions of years. When we used to even dwell in the trees, right? So it's not something new. It's just an ongoing thing.
I think life would still matter back then too. I don't think it's
Yeah. Well, I
dependent
mean,
on time.
you call it life. I mean, life has always been going on. You know, life is not new. It's continuously going on. And when
But-
someone's made to have a kid, it's like a lot of things happen that, interrupts their life. A woman's got to build
I
side
hate that
ones.
argument because the idea that a woman can't be successful with a child is completely
Well, it
ludicrous.
interrupts her life. It interrupts her the what she wanted to originally do, and her life is more important than that potential life because a zygote, a fetus, is definitely not as important as someone who's already born.
And this we disagree on.
Right. Well, that's just the way it is, and that's why we can abort because that's the general consensus, right? I just wish that men didn't have to pay child support for kids they didn't have to make it an evil playing field. I just think it's unfair that men are just sawed-off, disposable, and turned to slaves. But that's another discussion.
Well, why are women?
That one I agree with.
Why are women just disposable objects to have just for sex?
What do you mean disposable objects? I don't know what you mean.
So, like, if you're saying you don't want a man to have to pay child support,
Right.
da, 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 da,
Right.
why are you having sex with women if you don't want anything?
Why is she having sex with men? Isn't she the one who is a gatekeeper to sex? Isn't she the one that gets pregnant? Isn't she the one that has
Takes
full
two to get
responsibility?
pregnant.
Nope.
You need sperm to meet an egg.
Yes, but the woman is the one that gets pregnant, not the man. It's her body.
Yeah, but if there were no men left on Earth, no woman could get pregnant.
Right.
I don't see how that's relevant, but it's
But
her.
that's saying it takes two.
That's
It
what
takes
I'm
a
saying.
man.
I'm
and
It
saying
a
takes
it's
a
a man and a
donation
woman.
of sperm, just like if
From
I
a man.
make a cake and I go to my neighbor and get an egg or two that I need to finish my cake. Sure, it took two to make the cake there, but I actually made the cake. I'm the one who, if it was against the law to make a cake, I would get in trouble, right? I made the cake. It was my creation. I put it in the oven. I did everything put together, right? So pregnancy is a condition of the female, and you are 100% responsible for the condition of your body and what you do with it. So it's not a man's responsibility for your body, which is why men shouldn't have to pay child support for a baby she had without his consent. She didn't go to him and say, "Hey, can I have
Well,
a
he
baby?
consented to it when
Can
he had
I have a
sex.
baby with your sperm?" If he never said yes, why should he ever pay for
He
it?
consented
he
to it
had
by having
sex with her.
sex.
What's that? No, sex is not consent to have children. If it was,
Yes,
it is,
no.
because that's
If it,
what
no,
the
if
biological
it,
purpose of
if
sex
it
is.
was, then women would not be able to get out of it. Would not have the plan B.
And this
would
is what
not
we're
be
saying.
able.
This
would
is
not
the
be.
argument that we are
would
making.
not be able to have it up for adoption. Would not be able to leave it on the steps of a safe haven or fire department. But
Why-
you're
why
in support of those. But
Why can't I leave it in a safe haven because it takes two to make a baby?
exactly because
I don't understand.
no more responsibility for you if you do that. But if you keep it, it's always a man's responsibility to pay for it. But he can't go leave at the safe haven, can he? No, he cannot.
He can if the woman abandoned the child.
No. Well, that's, I mean, like we're talking about exceptions, not the rule. We're talking about the rule here. That's what's important. Never bring exceptions into an argument. It'll never work. Men are dumped on. We're severely oppressed in society. I can give all the different ways that is. This is just one of them.
I'm struggling to come up with responses to you because I think the fundamental difference here is not viewing life on an even playing field, which we do. And I think without that common ground, there's very little we can go off of.
No, I just think, yeah, that could be true. And that's a problem with a lot of pro-lifers is they try to say that life is always important up until they say it is at conception. And they think conception should be magical. And they think you should just accept their argument that since the sperm and the egg met, then therefore that's where it should begin. And there's no question about it.
But
That's
aren't you
ridiculous.
making the same kind of argument when you say it's defined at birth?
That we have to draw the line somewhere.
Right, and
I'm
we
drawing the line at conception.
draw at a conception.
Well-
It's just two different. It's two different
different
versions of the
lines.
same thing.
There's too many things that can go wrong during that. A woman could do many things to get rid of it without, your knowing.
And I think
Sad.
she should do none of those things.
Well, she has the ability to. That's why it's important to wait until.
I mean,
birth.
why do you think your doctor advises you not to drink when you're pregnant? Because
right.
it can kill the baby.
Right, well-
If
Well,
you intentionally
Well, it's not
give
really a
yourself-
baby.
I have
but,
the ability to stab somebody if I
Right.
want. I still can't.
you know,
Just because you
that's
can
not-
do something doesn't.
That's not
mean-
relevant, right? I understand that.
Well, it's a parallel.
What are the cops do sitting over here waiting for people to fuck up?
Where?
Just sitting over there by the street. It's the second day I saw them
Oh,
over
it's
there.
because the new lights. They have to enforce the new lights. So if people drive past the light that they're not supposed to
Oh
drive, they have to
yeah.
catch
It's
them.
just, it's just for traffic.
It's for traffic
Oh,
violation.
I'm surprised they don't install some sort of stop light camera. I guess that'd be shitty.
I think that'd be
Well, I
too
think
much
the
extra.
volume of
Yeah.
cars is so high that it's better to just deal with
It's better to
messages.
just do it like
I think.
this. Yeah, they'll just call them out. So
That's
why'd you go
pretty-
past the red line? They go, why'd you go past the red light? The blinking red light that said you
Yeah.
couldn't go past it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's. I just think that it's an ongoing argument, and because we have to put. We can measure. You can measure the fact that someone's baby is. I mean, they had a baby. You can measure that. You can know that that's there. It's alive on its own without the mother, and it just makes sense to put rights there after birth. When it's conception, there's no way to monitor that, no way to keep track. It's like it's all in the woman's body, and it's very difficult and messy and a lot of unknowns. What's going to happen? What can happen? It's developing. It's not actual yet. And that's why I think of birth as an actual, not a potential.
So-
I think it's potential up until that point.
You're defining the value of life here by the technology we have available. Because imagine in
No,
300
by
years,
birth.
we have the ability to know all of these things that you're saying we can't know.
Well, no, but so many things can happen. That's
Right, but let's imagine
amazing.
in 300 years, we know all of these things. We can track every single one of these things that can happen because technology's gotten so
Well, then
advanced.
you're arguing.
Then the life is valuable.
But then the argument goes back to before conception. I mean, I can even scratch my nose.
No, because there's not a human
I
life
can even
until
scratch my
conception.
nose, and these cells I scratch off can be cultivated to be reproductive.
No, they can't.
Yeah, if you could do
No, you
certain
can't.
things, you can do certain things to them and cultivate them to do that. Yes, they are
Just
cells.
because they double does not mean that
No,
is
no,
human
there's
reproduction.
actual things you can do to the cells that you scratch off your skin. You can actually do something with them, scientifically. You can read up on
Right,
it. It's
cells
true.
reproducing is not the same thing.
Well, no,
as
I didn't say
human
reproducing. I said you can actually do something with it in a reproductive scale, not just reproducing themselves. Have it become a human.
Make,
You
make
need
a
an
human
egg and a
life.
sperm. to
Right.
make
Well,
a human. can't take
I've
a
read
stem
on it. I
cell.
don't remember all the specifics, but the fact is that even not talking about that, sperm and eggs both have. You can argue for life in them. I mean, the sperm swims. It has an object. It's trying to do something.
It's alive, but it's not a human life.
Right. Well, actually, it's human cells. Why
Human
not?
cells don't mean they're human life
Why is it a human life?
because it's defined by the DNA, the 46 chromosomes that are
Oh,
unique from
so
the
you're
mother
saying
and the
because
father.
all the chromosomes aren't there, it's not a human life yet?
Well, because it's not a human zygote. A human zygote.
Right. What does it
has
matter? What does it
fertilization.
matter whether it's zygote or not? Well, it's
Because
still a
that's
human
when
life.
Human life begins.
But
No. A human
no.
cell does not mean it's
Why
human
does it
life.
begin there?
Because that is when the egg and the sperm combine. And
Right.
at
But
that
why does
moment-
life begin in there?
Because at that moment, a unique set of DNA that has never existed before.
It's
and will
unique
never
there.
exist
It's
again,
unique there.
Has never existed before and will never
It's got
exist
cells in
again.
there that are unique.
It doesn't have to do anything. It's just going to. That is the template from that point on.
But the sperm
child
has
growing.
cells in there
But
too.
it is not a
can't grow
unique
by
human
itself.
person.
What does it matter whether it can go by itself or not? Why is that?
It's not a baby.
Why,
It's not a human.
why does that matter? Wait a minute. Why is that human? Yes, it is. It's human. Sure.
No, a sperm is not a human
Why isn't it human?
because it did not combine with an egg.
Oh, because
to
it's
make
not
the
at the
DNA.
later stages, therefore it's not human.
No, because it does not have
There
all the
is- there
DNA
is
possible.
no
Why does it need to have all the
Yeah,
DNA possible?
There's no later stage to a sperm.
What does it
It's
matter?
just a sperm. There is
What
no
does it
later
matter?
stage yet.
What?
The only way you get stages is when they combine.
What is it? But it still has a potential of life. It still has the cells required to become
No,
human.
it doesn't.
I think we're talking in circles a little bit here.
Sorry, what? Yeah, no, it still has half the required to become something. So someone can easily argue that it is human life. It is human life.
If I have
Just
a
because it doesn't, no.
If I have a piece of bread with
I don't
peanut
need it.
butter
I
on
don't
it,
need an
is that a
analogy.
peanut butter
I
and
don't.
chili
I don't.
sandwich?
I don't need an analogy. I don't need an analogy. Just the fact that it is. Someone can easily argue that it's a human life, and that we shouldn't be killing it by jacking
Somebody
off.
could argue that. I think they'd be wrong.
Well,
They
I
can
think it's
argue.
wrong.
Sure.
I think it's wrong just to say that they joined together. That therefore,
But that's what science has decided. That any shape of any living thing.
science has decided. No. You're deciding that.
No, that's what every biological textbook
We
says.
still have
Any
rights
biology textbook.
afforded upon birth.
Even for plants, it requires the freaking pollen in the egg
Right.
to reproduce. Mm-hmm. Any living thing needs an egg and a sperm to reproduce.
And by having your cycle every month, you're killing potential babies.
No, I am not, because that baby is not. There's no baby.
No, that's because you didn't join it with the sperm when someone else jacked off, so you both should go to jail.
Not even making sense.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, what's up?
So y'all are, I have like really weird views. I'm like mostly liberal.
All right, man.
Pro-life.
All right,
Okay.
Thanks for stopping
Yeah,
by.
thanks for stopping by.
take care, guys.
Appreciate conversations like these.
What do you think, guys? I haven't debated abortion in a hot minute. I wouldn't mind knowing what you guys think. I tried to be reasonable. Not sure how successful it was.
When I could see him. Anyway.
Their argument was that science says that joining of egg and sperm is a life, so therefore their argument should be superior. I don't know, man. I think they're just trying to draw a line, just like the pro-choice people do at birth, right? You're good. I don't know. So, what do you guys think in the comments below? Gotta see if they have chocolate ice cream over here so I can get a shake. I feel like eating unhealthy today. I hope to move out of this town. For too long. Hopefully by like the end of this year, I hope to move out of this town. It's cool and all, but it's not a beach city, so I'm thinking about Sarasota. Alright guys, peace.